So this is classic Feng Shui, and classic Feng Shui is all about numbers and elements. And so you've got a handout there, and so the element wheel is fire, earth, metal, water, wood. There are numbers associated with fire, which is the number 9 if you look at your handout. With earth, it's 2, 5, and 8. With metal, it's 6 and 7. Water is the number 1, and wood is the numbers 3 and 4. So why that's really important is because we're talking about timing of 2015. Based on the analysis of 2015 and how the numbers come out, they call them flying stars. They're actually not stars, they're flying numbers because the numbers change position each year, and I'm going to talk more about that. But when those numbers come together, it tells us how we're going to experience the year. So today we're going to talk about Feng Shui as well as Chinese astrology and give you some insights as to what's possible in 2015, both on the positive side and on the negative side, so that you can make educated choices about how you want to experience the year. Okay? If it's all right, I'll ask that you hold your questions till the end, so we make sure we get through. There's a lot of content to get through, and then we'll open it up for questions. Okay? The way I remember this, in the beginning, God created light, fire. From the Big Bang, He produced the planets. In this case, Earth. Earth produces metal. Metal, when liquefied, acts like water. Water is the source of all life. In this case, wood. I'd like to go up and be... I'm real animated, so standing in one spot is like not comfortable for me at all. So water is the source of all life, in this case wood, and when wood is burned, that creates fire. That's how I remember the 5 elements, and that's how I teach, students to help remember it too. I'm actually working with a client right now, and her son is all of 9 years old, and he loves this. So I'm like, how do I translate it, to help them remember as I have done. So Feng Shui, the literal translation of Feng Shui is wind and water, that which shapes our earth. When people ask me what is Feng Shui, really my definition is, do I feel safe and secure in the environment? If I do, there's good Feng Shui going on, okay? So most people think of Feng Shui in regards to decorating and, moving furniture and hanging a crystal kind of thing. That is what is known as Black Sect Feng Shui, now called Western Feng Shui. And so this is the only form of Feng Shui that works with the numbers and the timing and brings it all together very holistically. That's why I'm able to work with a client who calls and says, my son just went into stage 4 leukemia, can you help us? Well, I can identify basically when it happens, who it's coming for, what's going on. So this is very precise in the way it is approached. So we start in regards to 2015, looking at what is the energy, which is based on a number, and how does it relate, associate, or not with the 20-year cycle that we're in. Well, the 20-year cycle that we're in goes from 2004 to 2023. It has a number 8. It resonates at an 8 level, which is all about Earth and Earth changes. I know that's a surprise. And 2015 is associated with the number 3. So we look at 3, which is hardwood, and 8, which is Earth, and how do they work together? Well, they kind of don't. Because when you think of the number 3, which is wood, wood takes energy from Earth, right? You put a plant in the ground and it absorbs the nutrients from the earth. So that lets us know that there's a more negative type of connotation. How that reflects itself for 2015 is the number 3 and 8 together actually means that it's not supportive of youth. So in the year of 2015, our sons and daughters and grandchildren are going to struggle even more. Okay? So whatever you see on the news, there's going to be more of that and probably more quantities of it. I want to share that my background is in risk management. I left Bank One as their disaster recovery manager. The last event that I worked there was the New York terrorist attack. I ran the command center for Bank One for that. So my approach to Feng Shui is risk management. People normally don't hire me to come in and tell me, oh, what's hunky-dory about my life and about what's going on in our house. And they hire me because they want a change. In most cases, some type of an improvement. So I go in with my Sherlock Holmes hat on, and I go in and I run the analysis, and I'm looking for the obstacles. I'm looking for the problems. I'm looking for the issues. Because when we're able to get those issues to resonate differently, which is what Feng Shui does, when I recommend a remedy, and I'm going to give you some remedies today, I don't say cure, because that's very ego-human-centric to think we can cure energy. Energy's been around a lot longer than we have. So really it's identifying what is the risk or what is the problem and how can we negotiate with it to have it resonate at a different level. And so classic Feng Shui works at a quantum level, and I'm going to talk more about that. So it's interesting, but we as human beings, when change happens, we're like, oh, I didn't ask for this. I didn't want it. The reality is, change is inevitable. One of my favorite books is by Stephen Hawking, and it's called The Chaos Theory. Everything comes out of chaos. When we're in chaos, that's where creativity comes from. So with classic Feng Shui, when we think of ourselves as change agents, it means that we gather knowledge, which is why you're here today, to give you some insight so that you can make the best possible decisions when something happens. Because guess what? Something's going to happen. You know, I'm going to walk outside and it's going to be cool, or it's not going to be cool, or the weather, whatever that is. Change happens. For the animals, it's very, very natural. The squirrels start gathering when they know the winter's coming, and then put their seeds and put their stash in the trees so they can get through the long haul. But we as human beings, we kind of like wait until the last minute. So thank you for being here and being insightful to want to know what is possible. And ooh, I like that. I want more of that. And ooh, that doesn't sound so good. What can I do about it? Okay. So as I mentioned, 3 is not a timely star for 2015. I love numbers. Numbers to me resonate like music. And so when I'm running the numbers on an analysis, this came to fruition. I was working on a home in New Mexico, and he is a nuclear scientist. He worked at the San Onofre nuclear plant in California. Anyway, he sent me the keys to his house, sent me the blueprints to his house. I flew in, he wasn't there, and he's like, oh, by the way, if your plane's delayed and you get there really late at night, don't walk to the door by yourself, wait until morning, because the coyotes are big enough, they'll drag you away. And oh, by the way, when you get in the house, there's centipedes that are venomous, and there's spiders, and I'm like, oh, this sounds welcoming, woo! I got there just at the break of dusk, too, and I was like in there and got into the bedroom, and I was doing this on the sheets and checking under the beds and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, when he did arrive, we started talking about classic Feng Shui and how it works and how it's numbers-based, and he said, oh, that's really cool. So he drew on this napkin for me this chart where it shows the big and slow means big volume, moving at a slow pace. That's the Newtonian theory of physics. Newtonian, the apple drops with the gravity kind of thing, okay? Then there's the big and fast, so it's big. Think of Mother Earth and moving at a fast pace, going through space. That's Einstein's theory of relativity. And then there's small and slow. So it's something at a smaller scale, volume, moving at a slow pace. He said that's where classic Feng Shui fits. And I believe that. From my experience of over 35 years working with Feng Shui, that is where it needs to be. Because it is something moving slow. You know, we as a culture, especially with technology today, you know, we want that instant gratification. We put something up and we want an immediate reaction. You know, put a money frog in your front door and there's an immediate $1 million waiting for you kind of thing. I mean, that's not the way life works. So Feng Shui works at a slower pace, but when you do it well, it works consistently and you get more results. And then there's the small and fast, something that's itty-bitty, moving really fast. So you think of the atoms and the works that they're doing, you know, actually filming the atoms as they crash together. Other forms of Feng Shui, I don't know that they really fit on the scale of physics, but if I was to put it someplace, I would say probably under the small and fast. So I'm a big fan of quantum mechanics, nuclear physics. I dwell in that world. And so OSU asked me to take a look at their building that they were going to move their Center for Integrative Medicine in. Gave me the address. I went over, ran the numbers, then I met with the group, the board, and I said, if you move into this building, here's what's going to happen, and here's how it's going to happen. And they were like, did you do research before you came to this building? And it's like, no, you gave me the address, and I'm here, and I ran the numbers. And here, the company that built that building, there was such a rift in the family that the two sides still don't speak to each other today, and it's been years and years. So OSU definitely wanted to move into that building, so Feng Shui gave them an action plan. How do we have it resonate at a higher level to support the physicians, the practitioners, and ultimately the patients? So if you've been into that building at 2000 Kenny Road, that's a Feng Shui building, okay? So ideally, when you walk into a building, and I think at some level we're all very intuitive anyway. I think intuition is a God-given gift. We've met that person, or we've walked into that room and the hair on our neck goes up and it's like, oh, get me away, kind of thing. So with Feng Shui, it should be when you walk in, you feel what? Safe and secure, that it feels good. That's a perfect healing environment, don't you think? Yeah. So I did this with OSU, and then they said, we never made the connection of people's living space having that type of an impact on people's health and wellness. You know, because you as patients, you go to the doctor, but I go to your home. And so we started collaborating, and they asked me to join faculty, and I had to go through the credentialing process and all that kind of stuff. So they have an educational forum called Grand Rounds, where physicians and residents get together and learn together. And so they asked me to go and do a lecture for that. And I thought, how do I explain Feng Shui to the logic-based, evidence-based mindset? And so what I came up with is if you take the human cell and you put it into a nurturing environment, it's going to survive and thrive. If you take the human cell and you put it into a non-supportive environment, it's going to struggle and die. That's Feng Shui. So I get lots of referrals from physicians today. Unfortunately, it's when people are in the late stages of cancer, but I'll take it wherever I can. To date, every person's gone into remission. So yeah, when you combine what you're doing, because we're smart people, especially today with the internet. We go out and research and learn and figure things out. But Feng Shui is kind of the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. Okay. So back to 2015. So with Feng Shui, the center sets the tone for everything that happens around it. Okay? The center is always the number 5. And in 2015, the 3 hardwood energy comes in. When we take a look at that 3-5 combination, it has a negative impact on the eldest son. Now, how do I know that? Every direction of the compass, and the compass is a major tool for classic Feng Shui, represents different family members. For businesses, different hierarchies of management, different body parts, and different functions of life. So with that 3 energy coming in, 3 represents the east, it represents hardwood. I'm not going to try to make this into a class. But that also lets us know that the eldest son is going to be negatively impacted. So if you notice that your eldest sons are more agitated, that's the energy of the year. That's the upside. You don't take it so personal. But think about yourselves. The energy of 3 comes in. Has anybody noticed that you're a little bit more anxious or a little quicker to temper? Snicker, snicker. I've noticed it in me. Okay, that's the energy of what's coming at us. And so I have to catch myself and say, you know what, this is really upsetting me in a way it normally doesn't. So I need to count to 10. Or say, you know what, let's table that discussion and let's come back to that maybe in an hour or something, okay? So catch yourselves and give yourself a little bit of breathing room. Give yourself some freedom around that. Money loss is also indicated for that 3-5 combination. Well, what do you do with that? Well, think about postponing any type of a major purchase. Car, refrigerator, whatever that might be. That may or may not be possible because if the refrigerator just breaks down, you're going to have to replace it. But if you have choice in the matter, try to postpone any major purchases. Carelessness and accidents. This is something we're going to see with automobiles, but we're also going to see more plane tragedies, unfortunately. And for businesses, employee and vendor issues. So the workforce are going to have struggle. I won't be surprised if there's protests, if there's strikes going on in 2015. And then vendor management. You know, think about your vendors, and if you have somebody who, you know, is always late or doesn't pay on time, you're really going to need to be on top of it so that that behavior doesn't worsen through the year of 2015. Okay? So we're going to go around the compass and talk about the different directions. Now, what I want you to do as we go through this journey together is think about your home and think about your office buildings. Where do you spend the most time? So think about entrances and particularly bedrooms, and try to get into your mind, oh, my bed sits, or my bedroom's in the north of the house or the south of the house or whatever that is. My philosophy is we only want to concentrate where we really spend the most energy, especially where you sleep, because where you sleep, if there's negative energy, that's going to affect your cells. And so you'll wake up more tired than if you did something about it. Now, what I want to say is at the end of this presentation, I'm going to actually give you some suggestions on what you can do for different areas. We're not going to do the whole compass thing. I looked at the more high-risk areas. I also need to say, and I will say it again at the end of the presentation, this is only based on timing. I haven't done an analysis of you. I haven't done an analysis of your house. So I'm just taking the fact that it's the year of 2015 and what the energies are, and it's a recommendation. It's better than doing nothing, but it may not be as powerful as actually doing the home or the business. So with the north is always the home to the 1 water star, and this year the 8 mountain star comes in. Well, that 1-8 combination is good and also has the flip side, has some negative implications about it. So think about the north, again, of your home or your business. If you spend time there, you might accumulate some wealth. So it's good for money. The flip side of that is, if your office is there, you might have more problems with business partners. You might be quick to make decisions, being a little too quick, a little too hasty, so slowing ourselves down or noticing that others, if their office or home or bedroom is in the north, that they may be too quick to be opinionated about something or someone. This type of energy can also increase consumption, particularly when it's liquid. So that could be liquor. Unfortunately, it could also mean heroin, because heroin is put into a liquid form. Drug abuse is rampant, as we know, in our society, but with next year, 2015, being not good for youth, and with this type of energy, I won't be surprised if what the statistics are today, by the end of next year, they will double, unfortunately. With the energy of the north, because money's not really supported for next year anyway, I would suggest that you don't loan money to people. And if you're asked to co-sign, think twice, think four times about it, and then delay the decision. Not a good not a good time to do that. This energy can also mean blood and kidney issues. So if you have diabetes, or you have diabetes in the family, you really want to take care of yourself next year. Drink plenty of water and make sure you monitor your blood sugar levels. And with kidney issues, so kidney infections. Okay? So we'll move to the northeast. So think about the northeast of your house and your office. If you spend a lot of time there, you want to pay attention to this. You want to pay attention to it all, but you know what I mean. So northeast is the home of the 8 mountain energy, and next year, 2015, the 6th number comes in, which is hard metal. That actually is a pretty good combination. This is an area where you want to spend time, is in the northeast. It's good for fortune, it's good for fame, fantastic for real estate. So if you are a person who flips houses, or you're in real estate, spending time in the northeast is going to help your business a lot. On the flip side, because you always think yin and yang, white and black, whatever that is, you know, for every good, there's usually something that counters it, right? So the flip side of that is that nerves are going to be affected, which they're affected anyway, because 2015 is a 3-year, and 3 rules the energy as well as the nervous system. East. East is the home of the 3 energy, and in 2015 the 1 water energy comes in. This will increase the risk of theft and robbery. So if you have a door that goes into your office, or you have a door that goes into your home that's in the east, you want to make sure you take precautions against an intruder coming in. So if you have a sliding glass door there, put one of the wood things in the railings. If you have a security system, be very diligent about it next year. Okay? So that's the kind of thing. It doesn't mean it's inevitable. These aren't predictions. They're possible trends. So I have a door in the east, and so I'm going to be very diligent about that myself. Unfortunately, this can also lead to some violence, this type of energy. So once an intruder is there, it's probably not going to just be a grab and go. There's going to be some type of altercation. Okay. Also, that this energy is in the east, which is back to eldest son. It means that the eldest son might be quick to anger, hasty, gets into an altercation without thinking. And we've already seen some of that on the news, right? Southeast is the home of the 4 wood star. Next year, the 2 earth star comes in, this 2-4 combination. Okay, when you think about your element cycle, you've got wood and you've got earth. They're right across from each other on the element wheel, which means something is taking from someone or something. So wood takes energy from earth. That lets us know that there's going to be some negative implications there. Number one, southeast represents the eldest daughter. That 2 energy come in, 2 represents sickness. So that means that our eldest daughters might be predisposed to illness more than they normally are. So watch for sniffles, watch for signs, do your supplements, take care of health. It also means that there can be some disharmony between the females in the family. So if you notice that you're having altercations with somebody that you normally get along with, it's the energy of the year. You can make better choices about it. This can cause sleep problems. So if your bedroom is in the southeast and you're sleeping in that energy, notice if you're not sleeping as well as you could be. I'm a big fan of essential oils, so I use essential oils to help me sleep. I'm one of those people, it's like I can't turn my mind off. It's always thinking and processing. So I'm already noticing this. South of your home, south of your business. South is always the number 9. And in 2015, the 7 energy comes in. The 7 energy is known as the fighting star in period 8. So that lets us know that there's fighting in the south. What that means is heart can be an issue. The chest area can be an issue. And also mouth, dental issues. I keep teasing Rhonda, and Sue knows this too, I keep teasing that one of these days I'm going to write a book. Happens even to the Feng Shui lady stuff. Because guess what? Mouth, my cap's already fallen off. My crown has fallen off. So I haven't done the remedy.
Sorry.
She's all like, have you done the remedies yet? I said, no, too busy taking care of everybody. And guess what happens? My crown falls off, so, there's validation, darn. The upside of that is if you or a daughter, someone is trying to get pregnant, this is an area that fertility is very supported for this year. Okay. Flip side is if you don't want to get pregnant, this may not be an area that you want to. Also, in the south of your office, in the south of your home, there's a very high risk for fire in 2015. So if you're going to use candles, pay attention. Don't fall asleep with the candles burning. Make sure that they're blown out before you go to bed. Look at your extension cords. If your extension cords are overtaxed, either get an electrician in and spread that load out a little bit, or unplug some things, when you're not home, because there's a very high risk of that. I'm going to talk about risk management, some global things, because this also means watch the south of the United States. There's going to be fires going on too. We'll come back to that.
In the south, is that?
In the south. Southwest is always the home of the 2 energy. In 2015, the 9 energy comes in. So if you look at your element chart, 2 is earth, 9 is fire. They support each other, but in this case, there's almost as many negative implications as there are positive implications. The negative implications I'm going to cover first and come back to the positive. Again, not good for youth. Okay? Now, in Feng Shui, when you hear something once, it's like, that's interesting. When you hear it twice, you better be paying attention. You hear it 3 times, you better be proactive about it. Okay? So, not good for youth, again. So, watch the news, watch your families. This can cause gynecological issues, eye issues, and depending on your landforms around your house, and what I mean by that is hills, mountains, other buildings, trees, and so forth, it can cause some other type of issues, but it's more than we will have time to get into today. On the upside, romance, because southwest represents eldest female, southwest represents love, and it also represents marriage and loyalty. Energy is definitely supported for us next year. And also, southwest being eldest female, job promotion, career growth will be good for us, okay? Reinventing ourselves would be good. Last of the directions. West is the home of the 7 energy, and in 2015 the 5 comes in. Now, if you follow classic Feng Shui, and if this interests you and you would like to learn more, the book that I recommend, believe it or not, is The Idiot's Guide. The yellow-orange book is a fantastic introduction to real classic Feng Shui. I should say real Feng Shui, but classic Feng Shui. So in classic Feng Shui, the number 2 represents sickness, the number 5 represents breakdown or disaster. So we always monitor where those go. And so in this case, it comes into the West. What that 5-7 combination means, arguments, fights, okay? Can also mean promiscuity. And what really comes up, so that's what I love about this, because you keep running the numbers and looking deeper and deeper and deeper. And, well, promiscuity vis-a-vis means sexually transmitted disease. So if you're going to fool around as a single person, take precautions, okay, even with a safe partner. And for those of us who are married, take precautions, you know, with that type of energy. Why not? And if your entrance to your home, entrance to the building as a business, or your bedroom is in the west sector, there's a chance of tumors. So, as an example, yesterday I was going to see Brian, our acupuncturist. This is my friend Dave. I have a nodule on my wrist. And I asked him about that, and he goes, that's a hematoma. Have you hit your wrist? And I'm like, no, but guess what? That's a sign of a tumor. So I can say with validation, you know, just notice those things, because normally I wouldn't be paying attention. You know, I've had so many surgeries. I've had 20 surgeries in my life. So, you know, I just feel the pain and keep on going. But had it not been for having done this analysis, I probably would have ignored that. And so now I'm going to have it checked. See? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power when it's used. Now, knowledge is power. So, pardon me? I didn't do the Northwest? Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Northwest is home of the 6 energy. Northwest also represents the eldest male, which typically is dads, grandfathers. The 4 energy comes in. Wood and metal don't get along. Wood chops metal, right? So the negative implications are relationship issues, especially for the eldest male. Causes heavy burden on female. This 4-6 combination does. So if you notice a shift of responsibility from who normally has it to someone else, that's heavy burden on female, okay? And I'm already seeing some confirmation that you're experiencing that. This can cause cold and flu, which we need to be cognizant of anyway. And for those of us over 30, I know it's hard to believe I'm over 30, but we can have injuries. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm also an intuitive, so sometimes I see words and pictures, and when I see injury for females, Northwest represents metal, but because we've already identified auto accidents, be very defensive when you drive. When you pull up to that light and it turns green, look both ways before pulling out. And if somebody behind you is honking that horn, just say, love ya! In your handouts, there's one page that shows 3 different web screenshots, okay? The first screenshot is about the energy of your building. So if you know how to use a compass and you get your facing direction, there's a calculator on our website that you can go out to and plug that information in to figure out what its energy is. Okay? So you'll see there on the screenshot, it goes over to Feng Shui Education, and then there's a drop-down menu, and it says Feng Shui Calculator. Get the compass reading of your house, go out to that calculator, and it will help to define what the energy of your house is. Now, on your handout, it comes up in a tic-tac-toe grid, so there's 3 by 3 blocks. It's the center block that you want to pay attention to. So you've got a red arrow there. Look at the bottom number. So there's 3 numbers that'll come up for each of those, and it's the bottom number that you want to look at. When you know that, you'll know I live in a 1 water house or I live in an 8 earth house. That'll help you to understand, is your house going to be empowered or is it not going to be empowered for next year? Okay? Why I want you to know this is because if you take a look at, and I know you can't see it, but your element wheel here, next year is a wood year. So you look at what's in front of it and what's in back of it. Well, water is behind it. Wood is going to take energy from water. So if you live in a 1 water house, it's not going to be powered next year. It's going to be vulnerable next year. Now, if you don't know what your number is, let me put it to you another way. If your house faces south, that's a 1 house. Okay? So water houses are going to be vulnerable, and wood takes energy from earth houses. Okay? So if the house has a 2, 5, or 8 number, it's not going to be empowered. If you don't know what your number is, that means if your house faces southwest or northeast, it's not going to be empowered. Okay? What that means is more negative energies are going to take more power than the good energies. Okay? Also, wood houses would be the number 3 or 4, not having your number. That means if your house faces northwest or your house faces west, it's a wood house. It's not going to be empowered. Well, what do you do about that? Well, at a minimum, the recommendations that I'm giving you today, do those. And it would be more powerful to have a consult done, duh. But at a minimum, think about you individually. So there's another flyer there that talks about a 2015 strategy session. Based on your birth date, I can tell you volumes about not only you, but your energy in 2015 and what you can do about it. And I don't know if you follow us on our blog, people love these. I mean, we had one lady say, I got more out of that than I did 6 months of counseling. You know, so just some options for you. All right, so that's about the building. Your individual energy. So, again, on your screenshot, it'd be the middle one. Your personal Feng Shui energy. If you go over to Feng Shui Education, it drops down, and you can go to the 9-star key calculator, put in your birth date, it'll tell you what your number is. Okay? If you're a 1 water person, if you're a wood 3 or 4, or if you're an earth 2, 5, or 8, we should be doing a strategy session. Believe me. Okay? Risk mitigation. Again, that's my background. So, when I left Bank One, I'm on the U.S. Geological Earthquake list from my days in disaster recovery, but when I left the bank, I upped the Richter scale to 5 or above worldwide. because you would not believe the number of earthquakes there are every year. Okay, but let me give you an example. So earthquakes, well, you know, we had one in Virginia, West Virginia, you know, 2 and 3. We've had a couple in Ohio, 2, 3, you know, not too destructive, a little creepy if you're close to it. Typically 4 and 5, we're rumbling. If it's 6, there is destruction. If there's 7, 8s, and 9s, it actually shifts the axis of the earth. Okay? So in 2014, Richter scale 6 and above, we had 83 earthquakes. 7 and above, we had 10. 8 and above, we had 2. That's not uncommon because, God bless you, that's not uncommon in a period 8. Because period 8, God bless you again, is about earth changes, okay? So, and actually, these numbers are lower than what I've seen for other years. So I just want you to be aware, again, agents of change. I'm a firm believer, you know, prepare for the worst and hope for the best kind of thing. So have extra water at your house, have extra food at your house kind of thing, that if something does happen, and I don't see anything major happening in Ohio for a few years, you know, that when everybody else is panicking and running to the grocery stores, you know, you're not having to fight that, because when we're, number one, it's a 3 year, so people are going to be aggressive and angry anyway, but then this way you don't have to deal with that, so take that word of caution. Number 3 for 2015 means thunder. Thunder means severe storms. Thunder means hurricanes and tsunamis. So we'll have more of that. When we think about thunder, explosion, what else comes to mind? Lightning. So fires are going to be prevalent. On the flip side of that, also means water, which means mold. Okay? So if you notice anything, don't let it go too long. Stay on top of it. You know, spray with bleach or whatever that might be. 3, thunder, anger, aggression, lightning.
Guns. 4.
For me, I come back to it's not supporting youth, school shootings.
Okay.
And you were here last year. So last year was a softwood year, and we talked about because it's wood and with the energy that it was going to be school shootings, but also because 2014 is a 4-year for air. We talked about airport violence, and within a couple weeks, there was a shooting at the airport. So, you know, a lot of people say, well, it must make you feel good. You know, it really doesn't. You know, when there's tragedy, when there's loss of life, I just wish I could have gotten the word out so we would have made different decisions about things or prepared differently. So I really, really, really request of all of you, pay this forward. You know, knowledge means nothing unless it's shared. So share with your friends and family and your coworkers, and show them the calculators and get people involved with this, because I really do think this can help to change the future. I know it does for my clients, so.
I do have a question. Last year was the year of the horse, correct? Well, this year, actually. So what's next year, the year
Oh,
of...
what a great lead-in.
Oh. Okay, there we go.
So it's the year of the goat, also known as the ram or the sheep. Normally the ram, the sheep, the goat, fun people, creative people, loving people. But the goat's natural element is earth, and according to Chinese astrology, it's the wood goat. Wood takes energy from earth. So we're going to see some of the more negative traits of the goat. Which is vague, obstinate, timid, needs looking after, and introverted. Okay? I happen to be an introvert. I know most people, when they hear me speak, or you know, we get to be friends, are like, I can't believe you're an introvert. Well, I really am, so I'll probably be more so. because it's one of the negative traits of the year of the sheep. I'm an introvert, huh? We can be in the office all day together and have maybe 5 words, and we're both okay with that because we're introverted, but next year we may not say anything. Okay, again, back to your handouts on the bottom. Go out to Feng Shui Education, and it drops down, and it's called your 4 pillars. Your 4 pillars will give you your Chinese astrology animal, and this will help you to understand what you are if you don't already know. And again, share this. Share this with family and friends and coworkers, okay? So the more we are aware, that's what Feng Shui is, being aware of the environment. There's the environment of the mind, the body, the spirit, home, car, all of that. So and the more you support them, guess what? The more they're going to support you. Okay. For those of you who do know what your animal is, so this is the best companions chart. So if we look at sheep, the best companion is the horse. So if you're a horse from a Chinese astrology perspective, it's going to be a good year for you. Okay. So we take a look at the best, we take a look at what's not so good, which is the next chart. Opposites. So year of the sheep, the opposite is the ox. So if you're an ox, it's going to be a challenging year for you. For all of us who fall in between there, let me give you just a high-level overview as to what it's going to look like. If you're a rat, tough year. Ox, I've already said, tough year. Tiger, average. Rabbit, good year. Dragon, average. Snake, average. Horse, we've already talked about, good year. If you're the goat or the sheep, average. Monkey, average. Rooster, average. Dog, tough year. Pig,
good year?
good year.
I'm loving that. I'm good.
So we're winding down now, and I'm going to open it up for questions in just a moment. If there's anybody here that wants to share, previous talks and how it correlated, how it worked, or if we've worked together and you just want to, share with people something, that came out of that. And you already mentioned about last year and Sue?
I'd be happy to. When Diane first came and I moved a lot. So my first apartment, she said to me, this is a really bad fire area, and where I was, and I said, the guy across the hall has about 22 gas lamps that he keeps lit all the time. She said, you need to be aware of that. And then she told me all these different things to watch out for this and that. And she was right on track and completely accurate. I can't say enough about Diane, and I've learned a lot. I read the Black Hat or Black Set, where you go in and you figure out where everything is, and it's a kind of like a pre-designated chart. It's not accurate because it doesn't deal with the flow of energy. And so the person who owns the place has to actually intuitively or take all their own energy to try and maintain that space. Whereas when Diana tells you what it is, then you know it's completely accurate and you can go with the flow of it. And I've seen too many people, because I've worked with Diane in the past, too many people have had dread diseases, all kinds of horrible conditions. Doctors will send people to her because of health issues, and she just helps them tremendously. I can't say enough.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, it's the truth.
See, that mistake. So in summary, I want to give you, did you want to say something?
Yes, I do. I have a question. You said that you could already feel this energy now. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because it's not until, what, February or?
Well, so everything in
Chinese
calculations is annual, and so you're correct, and good for you, that Feng Shui energy goes from February to February. Why we're already feeling it now is if you take a 12-month cycle, you divide it up into quarters, usually the last quarter we're already feeling it. So if you look at January, December, November, but for sensitives, You go back to October, September, August. Typically, earth people are sensitives, and so they're already picking up on it. I mean, we got calls like end of July, August saying, what the heck is coming, kind of thing. So, yeah. So in summary,
Last year, I was here, and you
I
made it
recognize
pretty
you
clear.
here.
Hi.
Yeah, pretty
You made
nice.
it pretty clear about the lung issues, and you gave ways to help with, like, the Himalayan salt lamps and the thieves oil, which I took to heart.
Good.
And I was fine, but I noticed that everybody else around me didn't pay attention, and they did get a lot of lung issues throughout my whole family. So for all this negativity, is there anything we can try to do?
My feelings get hurt because it comes across so negative, and that's why I try to make the clarification. I'm a risk manager. I'm looking for the negative, okay? In regards to what we can do, because it's a 3-year, we look at the body parts that are going to be affected, okay? So a 3 represents energy, so making sure you're balanced. Don't wear yourselves down. Typically in this kind of energy, we're either up or we're down. So it's about finding balance, having people around you that support you, okay? Feet, throat, thyroid, gallbladder, all are at risk in 2015. So if you have those type of issues, or if you've been to the doctor a few years ago and they said, you know what, your thyroid, well, maybe be proactive, okay? Don't ignore it. Be the one to take, be a champion of your own existence. Does that help? And thanks for following me, coming back again. So, areas that you like to spend time in that have positive energy are north, east, and north. Remedies, again, strictly from a timing perspective, your house could say something totally different. East, you want to make sure that if you have a door there, you want to have your security beefed up, and you want to avoid the water element. Water element means the colors blue, black. It can mean a lot of glass or crystal. Might want to spread that around the house a little bit. Also means wavy patterns. Okay? So water is not going to be our friend in 2015 for the most part. Southeast and south, avoid fire. Have your outlooks checked. Okay? Make sure that you don't have candles burning unattended, kind of thing, because fire is going to be a risk for the southeast of the country, for the south of the country, and for our homes, offices, and businesses. Southwest, you want to use water. Again, blue, black, glass, crystal, wavy patterns. West, you want to use water. Blue, black, glass, crystal, and wavy patterns. On the flip side, people who have a fire energy, which is the number 9, houses that face north are actually fire houses. They're supported next year. So I wanted to end on a good note. So if you use social media, please follow me, and if you don't mind tweeting about your experience today, I would appreciate it. And I'd love to go around and talk with every one of you to say, what did you learn that you're going to put into motion? What is at least one thing that you're going to walk out of this room and do to get ready for 2015? So, be thinking about that, and I'm going to be around for a while. I'm probably going to walk through, so if you want to come and find me. Any other questions about today's presentation?
Out of curiosity, if old age is always 20 years older than I am, where would we think in terms of youth? Like my nephew is 26. I'm going to assume he's right in the middle of this, and he's an eldest son. So.
I would say, so Dave's question is, what do you consider youth to be, age-wise? 30 and under. Yeah. Anymore, pretty much 30 to 50 is middle age, and actually it's probably 30 to 60, since I'm
Definitely.
now over 60 now.
Absolutely, there's no question.
So 30 to 60 were middle age, and then 70 above would consider to be elderly. But that has changed, okay? See, change, be an agent of change. All right, so personal strategy sessions, I can't say enough about them. You got a flyer on that if you so choose. At a minimum, you should. You've got your screenshot for calculation for your house. You've got your screenshot for doing calculation of you personally on the Feng Shui, the 9-star key, and also the screenshot on how to do your 4 pillars or your Chinese astrology. What you want to do going forward, if you're not on our newsletter list, you should be. Because every month I take a look at the energy that's coming up and I give tips about how to handle it, okay? Because every month has a different energy. Let's say it's a 2-month and a 3-year. You want to know about that, believe me. So if you're not already on our newsletter list, at least go out to the website and check the monthly energies. So on your handouts, I put a star there to show you where to find monthly energies. Let me hear from you. You know, how are you applying this, and what's going on? And did you notice some of what we've talked about has come to fruition? Hopefully, you'll take, you know, wise steps to help avert what could be worse. And Dave Moore and I are partnering in business. We're coming up with a line of body sprays that they're unlike anything that's out there. They're going to be energetic. The water is actually going to be energetically programmed, and it's going to have Feng Shui energy in it, and so we're super excited. And so hopefully by the first of the year we will have released some of those. So if you're on our newsletter list, you'll know that it's coming. So thank you so much. God bless you.
Thanks.
So I have a question. Are you filming it and is it available for sale?
We are filming it, and I haven't decided whether to sell the videos or just put it out on YouTube because it'll reach more of the masses.
Got it?
What are your thoughts about that?
YouTube? Yeah.
Would you watch it again?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.